Welcome to Go-Go's Podcast, a podcast about we haven't quite decided yet, but we're going to keep doing it anyway. I'm Colby.
And I'm a shrimp wearing a tank top, but you can call me Fee.
Is that not a SpongeBob character? It feels like that's a SpongeBob character.
I think you're thinking of Larry the Lobster.
You're right, I am thinking of Larry the Lobster. Lobsters and shrimp are very similar, honestly.
Why? I think they're related, aren't they? Like they're both like mollusks.
They're both
right?
stupid. I don't know, actually. I'm going to Google it. Are shrimp and lobsters related? Let's see.
They're mollusks.
They're both close relatives because they're both crustaceans, not mollusks. Mollusks are like mussels, I believe.
Oh, like my muscles, like my abs.
I'm gonna fucking stop this podcast right now.
We're like 2 minutes in. You're just
we're never gonna do another podcast. We're gonna put up this, and then people are gonna be like, "Wow, that was a really bad joke."
No, they're gonna laugh. They're like, "Oh, that Fee of mine coming up with them knee slappers." All those people in fucking the hillbilly country just like
really
to our podcast.
We got a bunch of like rum runners and fucking bootleggers out in the mountains that are like, "Oh, I listen to Go-Go's Podcast, but I don't think they all listen to."
Every time I'm making moonshine, I got them playing full blast. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! I hear you get arrested if you play it in public.
That's why I gotta play it in secret.
Out here in the mountain where no one can hear me.
Whoa! Dude, I wonder if people like that still exist.
Yeah, for sure. So like you probably haven't seen it, but Johnny Knoxville actually a long time ago now did a documentary called The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. And
wow, okay.
Yeah, very long title, but it was this like exploration documentary thing that was like just looking at this family called the White family, right? And the main that's their last name is White, and they live in a place called Boone County in West Virginia, and
of course West Virginia.
Yeah, of course. And this whole thing is just following this family as they like. So you know how like a lot of families, like if not in your immediate family and your extended family, there's like one person who's like a fuck up, and anytime you see them, you're like, oh god, they're gonna ruin Christmas, they're gonna ruin Easter, there's gonna be a goddamn new fire that's set or something.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was a whole family of that. That's what this is.
Oh no. Yeah.
Like it ends off with like a police standoff. It's crazy.
The fuck? Yeah, I do have that one. I wouldn't say they're the fuck ups, but one of my cousins is kind of troubled, and she has a family of like 5 or 6 kids, and she just up and lifted her family and moved to California with the guy she met on the internet and never met in real life. Hell
yeah! How's that going so far?
Apparently, he's a nice guy, I guess.
Hell yeah, that's good.
So I mean, that's all I know. I don't. I only hear secondhand through my mom. So.
Okay, let me read you the storyline for this movie on IMDb, because you're gonna ask some questions. Shootouts, robberies, gas huffing, drug dealing, pill popping, murders, and tap dancing. What do all these things have in common? These are just a few of the parts of being a member of the Wild and Wonderful White family. The legendary family is known for their wild, excessive criminal ways, as they are for their famous mountain dancing members, including Jesco White, the star of the cult classic documentary Dancin' Outlaw.
Hell yeah.
There's like, the whole thing is like they have the patriarch of this family, like the grandfather.
Of course.
He got famous for like dancing. He did like a hillbilly. So you know how like Cajuns are like doing the hootenanny. You know how like Cajuns are like and I can say this because I'm Cajun, so it's fine. Cajuns are like bootleg French people. This is like the form of dancing that they're doing is like bootleg tap dancing. So they like kind of do some tap dance, but like throw a little soft shoe, throw a little like fucking, you put a little hillbilly stank on it. You know what I mean?
They doing like the cowboy like heel, like tapping the heels and stuff.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's like, I'm gonna be honest with you,
like line dancing.
It's completely unremarkable, to me.
Yeah.
But and it's not necessarily line dancing, because it's like one person does it and everybody watches and goes, "Oh shit, that's crazy! Look at this man do it."
That's such a good dance. How did you even come up with that?
Wow, look at his feet. They're like fire.
They're moving so fast. We
gotta burn down the whole state at this rate, Jesco.
I feel like, because you said they're like bootleg Cajuns or bootleg French people, they all talk like fucking Gambit from X-Men 93.
That's the thing, is like Gambit from X-Men 93 is Cajun, and that's bootleg French. So like, it's just an analogy for the dance, right? Like, they're all from West Virginia, so they all definitely talk like they got a whistle in their mouth, but that's fine.
I feel like a Cajun, the way they talk with, in and out with that French, like, oh, mon cher, what's going on? Why don't you come on down to the bayou?
Yeah.
I feel like that is the Tex-Mex of, like, France.
No, you're right. You are absolutely right. Like, if you ever watched Swamp People, the accents that you got going on in Swamp People range from, like, deep Cajun, because like my mom grew up in Louisiana, like 100% Cajun. Yeah, so she like up until she was like in her teens was like immersed, and like they lived out in the country on a farm, so like she was exposed to like the reddest of redneck Cajuns, right? And like we started watching Swamp People, and there's a man on it named Troy Landry, King of the Swamp. That's what they call him. And Troy Landry, like, he gets on camera and he's like, "Well, we're going to go down to the boat. We're going to go down to the bayou. We're going to shoot the alligator in the back of the head." And you're like, "What the fuck are you saying, Troy?" And my mom was like, "No, that's the thing. That's how people talk. Like, that's like real Cajun shit right there." And I was like, that's crazy.
That's how you know you're authentic Cajun. Mm-hmm. I think Jim Cummings does a good Cajun accent. Who Jim Cummings, the voice of like Darkwing Duck.
Oh.
He voiced that Cajun Firefly in The Frog Princess.
Oh, he did do a good job doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's it called? It's really weird how French, the language is like spread out. So you got like, of course, Paris, France, and then you got New Orleans Cajun people. Mm-hmm. And then you got, like, Canadian people, like Quebec people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting, like, sliding, because, like, it's, like, those are if you go back far enough, those are the same people. Like, so the word Cajun comes from the word Acadian, and Acadian is, like, the name of the people that, of the French people that migrated to Canada. And so, pre-Louisiana Purchase, that was basically all owned by France, right? And so you had a bunch of like French people immigrating to Canada, and then they would move further south down like the Mississippi River until they hit the Gulf, and then that's where like Louisiana started sprouting up, right? So there's like a big like French and sort of Acadian culture around there. But the further down you get, and the more cultures that you mix in down there, because it's not just like it was them and then in a bubble, and then that was it. We discovered them like old pottery. Like they had like English people that moved in. Yeah, they've always been there. They like English people, Native Americans, including and not limited to like. I watched an interesting documentary, and by documentary I do mean like 20-minute YouTube video, but it is like a documentary type style thing about gumbo. And like, why is okra in gumbo? And there's a couple of different reasons, but one of them is that like slaves in the area, like of course, like everybody is taking parts from people's cultures to like because that's just what happens. Like you live around people, and you're like, oh, what the fuck are you putting in that? And so like
we're in a melting pot.
Yeah, exactly. And so like slaves were using like okra in some of their like dishes, and I'm
sure it's because that's like all they could find. Like it was like the easiest to come across, right?
Here's the thing: okra like is not a thing that was growing in like Louisiana. Like it had to be imported with the slaves. So like this was like an original like African ingredient. So like if you take a look at some dishes, like if you take a look at some African dishes, they have okra in it, and so. they started growing it in Louisiana, and they could use it to like make a bunch of these dishes. And I guess like Cajuns in the area were like, we like this, we're gonna put this into our shit too. And so like, you know, that's how you get like okra and gumbo, and like sometimes you put okra in like a crawfish etouffee if you want to. So pretty crazy.
That's really funny. Like, I don't see okra in a lot of dishes. The only time I see okra is like fried okra when I go to a chicken place.
Yeah, okra is not a thing that people traditionally like. If you go to like Louisiana, you will like see a lot more okra,
Well, no,
which
I
is
know.
great. But
I've been to Louisiana twice, and I've seen it there. But
yeah, and you know, I see it. It's on the ground, so they just litters the streets.
In their food, because I was there for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But it tastes like nothing. It kind of has a taste, but it doesn't taste like anything.
Yeah.
It's like a more flavorful celery.
Yeah, I think that too. But a lot of its charm and a lot of like the reason why people hate it is because it's so goddamn slimy inside.
Oh,
Like if you just cut open an okra, it's just so slimy and gross. It smells like, it feels like snot in your hands. It's gross.
Yeah.
But like that contributes to
pie.
like a really cool texture whenever you put it inside of a dish like gumbo. So that's why it makes sense there. Fried okra is not a thing I've ever gotten into, and like obviously raw okra, I'm not like no, I don't
raw
really need
okra's
that
gross.
either. No, thank you.
Fried okra is good with chicken. Like if you get like fried okra, you can have it on the side with chicken. I always go to like the Good and Crisp chicken, and every once in a while there'll be like a few pieces of fried okra in my French fries.
Hell yeah, yeah, because they don't care. Like I don't know, it got in there, it's fine.
It's the same fryer, and they're like, this is fine. Go get this podcast. Come here to listen to your history.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a history lesson about okra and tell you about how fast food people don't give a shit.
Yeah, the history of Cajuns. No, I mean fast food for sure. They don't give a shit. I know when I worked fast food, I didn't.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is, you're not paid enough to give a shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, if I was a, let's say for a second that Chick-fil-A was not like hating gay people, right?
Yeah.
And I decided I'm gonna open up my own Chick-fil-A. Now, if somebody came to me and was like, hello, Mr. Chick-fil-A owner of this particular Chick-fil-A, did you know I had a bad experience? I walked in and I wanted this very specific sandwich and they didn't do it for me. And whenever I told them about it, they got kind of huffy. Okay. I would say, yes, I don't pay them enough to not get huffy, honestly.
Yeah, that don't sound like my employees. Well, sir,
well, let me assure you, I will not be back. That's the thing. I like
Chick-fil-A.
that the amount of pay that you get for a part-time job like that is so abysmally low that like, you know, like if you were asked to do anything above the bare minimum, it's like, especially listen, like whenever you're a kid or whenever you're like a young adult, like I feel like we're raised to be like, listen, you know, you got to like impress the boss. You got to like, you prove that you're worth it. You got to make sure they're not going to fire you. So you got to like go above and beyond and maybe you'll get a raise. But then if you're stuck in the same job for a while, you go, oh, actually it doesn't fucking matter. Cause like I'm looking at like this other guy that's been here twice as long and he's a drooling idiot and he gets paid the same as I do. So like, why the fuck would I care?
Yeah. I learned that a long time ago, like real quick when I started working at Whataburger. Cause like my mom and like my dad would be like, you know, make sure that you do your good job so they can see that you're doing a good job to keep you. I'm like, oh hell yeah. And then after a while working there, I'm like, wait a minute, everyone here sucks. Yeah. I'm like, what does it matter?
Yeah. Like it's almost like they expect you. They're like, okay, you know, you're on the clock. You're like doing your stuff. You've done all that you're supposed to do. You got 10 minutes left. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and sweep under the fryer? You're like, do what? No, go fuck yourself. I'm not going to do that. No one does that.
I had an instance where they told us that too. Like, they, way back in the day, they're like, okay, you know, clean all your areas and whatever. And we got done cleaning, and our like boss was there, like our GM, and she was like, well, y'all can't just stand around. Y'all have to, what's it called? find something to do. And then she was like, someone clean under the water heater. I'm like, why? I was like, why?
Hey, when was the last time someone did that? And also, why?
I'm like, no one's going back there. And no one's like, who's looking under there? They're like, oh, you never know. I'm just like, baby, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well,
like,
next month is going to be the hot water heater burger special where you make a burger and then you take off the bun and you like dip the patty into some like hot water heater like floor. You just like drag it across the floor under it and you get that sauce and you put it on top and let it go.
Yeah, you get that extra flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But like, okay, so what is the problem with just, you've done your job, you've cleaned, you've stocked your area, it's slow, like, what's the issue of just, standing there? No one's at, like, the restaurant or anything. They're just like, you can't just stand there. There's always something to do. I'm like,
is there?
No, there's not. I'm like, no, there's not. Like, we've swept and, we went and cleaned the front. What else do you want?
Yeah, and that
you're
goes
paying
to like...
us like $7.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying us $7. Like, if you were... again, if this was like... I got, you got hired at this place and they're paying you like $20 an hour and they're like, hey, listen, like, it is more work. We do clean more stuff. We produce like a crazy amount of food and you're going to do more work, but you were going to get paid like 1.5 times, 2.5 times what you get paid at Whataburger. I feel like that's a reasonable trade-off. And then like, if you're fair. Like caught standing around not doing anything and they're like, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, you got one chance and then you're out of here. You're going to be like, oh shit, like I'm going to ruin a good thing. Like I get paid a lot of money for this and they expect me to not stand around. So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. For $20 plus, I'd be like, okay, I'm actually going to take this a little bit more serious because $20 an hour is like nothing to sneeze at, dude. That's like 3 times fucking minimum wage.
Yeah. So, and that's like, at that point, you're like, okay, this is like a job that I want to hold on to. Because if you're in like a minimum wage job, there are like tens of thousands of those in your area. And I don't know, like, I don't know if it's different now. I don't know if it was different back then either. But like, if you apply for a job and they ask for references, you're not going to give them like somebody who you currently work with. That's like, oh yeah, they're a lazy piece of shit. Like, you're going to be like, here's my mom or whatever.
Dude, yeah, I always gave family members that didn't have the same last name as me.
Hell yeah.
Or I'd be like, here's this reference and this one and this one. And then I'd call those people. It was always you and Mike. I'd always put you and Mike as my reference. And I'd call you and be like, yo, I put y'all down as a reference. So if you get a phone number or a phone call, just tell them I did a good job.
Dude, that's the thing. They never call. Like,
I know.
I got called exactly one time for one referral for someone, and he didn't tell me that he put me down as a referral, so I had to pick that up in the conversation and then lie, right? So like, I pick up this phone, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we just want to talk to you about your experience working with Will," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." They're like, oh yeah, so like we're the hiring manager for this company, and we just want to like talk to you about like the time that you work together. And I go, oh, Will put me down as a reference. We've never worked together. And then I was like, yeah. So I was thinking like, how do I make this more believable? Because if they ask me questions about my employment history, I don't want to like. And so I was like, yeah, we worked together a lot in college. And they were like, oh, so like this wasn't like a professional thing. And I was like, well, I mean, you say that, but like engineering school, am I right? You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, okay, great. Cool.
You wacky son of a bitch. I get it. He's hired.
He's great. And then I'm like, we worked together. He was great, hardworking. We lived together and worked together all the time. He was awesome. Like very hard worker. I would like highly recommend him for any job that you have. Can I hang up now? I don't want to keep lying.
Can I please stop having this conversation, please?
Police.
That I understand because that I'm sure was a high-paying job, which is understandable. But so this, going back to Whataburger where I worked, this happened and it was like this for a week. Mm-hmm. We would go into work and we would smell this awful fucking smell. It was a dead rat, but we didn't know where it was.
Oh no!
And it smelled rancid in the and the Whataburger in Taft. You know it's small, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're just like, where is it? It like we're looking under everything, and then we're just like, oh no, it's in the ceiling.
Oh God!
So like after a while, we had this guy named Anthony, and he was like a real chill dude. He just kind of he did anything. He couldn't work anywhere but fast food because he had like a criminal record. Mm-hmm. So he was just like down to do anything. He wanted to work. So the boss is like, hey, check up there. And, we look up and there's just this big fucking spot where the body had just, I guess.
Oh no.
So he takes the tile off and this huge fucking rat falls down on the counter and like, oh, the smell just immediately goes to like all the wall. And this was about as big as a bottle of soda.
Oh my God!
And yeah, it was huge, and it was just sopping wet for some reason. And
Jesus Christ!
I was like, yo, I just clocked in like an hour ago. I was like, I gotta go home. This thing is giving me a headache, and I'm like sick. I'm like, I can't work, and the smell just lingered. And we had to clean it. We had to close the front. And I was just like, I'm getting sick thinking about it now. It's just like, I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, I have to go. And they wouldn't let me go. I'm like, you can write me up. I need to go. I'm not going to sit here and work like this. And like, I just went home. I was like, fuck that noise, dude.
Jesus Christ.
This is like, I'm like, how can you make someone work like that? And at getting $7 an hour, I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, no way. I'm like, you're not gonna have me work here, just feeling shitty and like on the verge of vomiting. I'm like, no. It's not gonna
Listen,
happen.
you've given me the plague. I refuse to sit here.
I am not gonna sit here. Good day, sir. I fucking throw my blue hat at them. This and like this. I don't know if this tells you how old I am, but this is back before they were wearing orange uniforms. This is back when they were wearing blue.
Yeah, baby.
So, yeah, that was a long time. That was, ugh, I'm kind of sickened.
Ugh. I'm just thinking about it. Blech.
I really, I could just picture it, and it's just, it's nauseating.
Yeah, that's terrible. Like, that's, like, and the thing is, the only, so again, like, if you're thinking about it from the perspective of a business owner, like, whose job is it to get the rat out of the ceiling? Probably the general manager, right? Like, yeah. They've got to call an exterminator and get it cleaned up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just be like, hey, guy who's paid $7 an hour, why don't you, like, go on rat detective duty?
I guess because, like, I don't even know, dude. Like, I don't know what she was thinking. Like, you would just call it well, I mean, it was dead, but, like, who would you call?
Yeah, you call an exterminator. Like, that's...
Would you?
That's one of the things that they do is they just remove, like, animal corpses. That's, like, one of the things.
I, like... It's just surreal to me that, like... I guess the GM didn't want to save money, and she found a willing person who can't lose his job because he needs to, pay for, like, where he's living.
Yeah.
And, like, his kids because he can't work anywhere else.
I mean, I get it. That, like, as terrible as that is, like, if you're looking around and you're like, well, I could pay the exterminator to come out, and then that comes, like, $100 out of my budget to get the exterminator out here and, like, get this whole thing cleaned up. Or I'm already paying this man $7 an hour, and he's, I don't know, making burgers or whatever. Yeah, he could do it. It's fine.
I'll say if he does it, I'll give him a free lunch.
Yeah.
That's always the incentive. If you do this, you'll get this. I'm like, sometimes I felt like telling my boss, like, man, we eat behind your back for free. Who cares?
Yeah, honestly, like, I don't know of anyone that worked at a fast food place where they're like, no, you can't just take free food, that didn't just steal free food constantly.
Oh, no, we always did. But like, I don't know why when I was a kid. I understand now, but I don't know why I was a kid. I was mad when they were just like, yeah, no, you gotta pay for your meal. You'll get half off, but you gotta pay for it. I was just like, where the? I work here. I don't know. I don't know why I thought because I worked there, I should be allowed at least one free meal. It's not like I was asking for a lot. I just wanted something for my lunch, and it wouldn't be the full meal. It would just be like a burger. And they already gave us drinks to drink while we were there, so I was just like, just give me the burger.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I get it. Like, the cost overhead is like, well, you got to pay for the meat, you got to pay for, like, all the stuff that you're doing. But even that, like, even if you're like, you have to pay, like, the cost of the food, that's probably still under half. And even at that point, it's like, how many meals is someone going to eat a day? Are they going to, like, are you going to miss that $10 worth of product maximum, right? Like, yeah. Probably not, dog. Like, just let them.
Yeah, just let someone have a free fucking whatever you're having. Just a free burger. Like, they're not being like, well, I'm going on my break. You mind if, like, my mom comes and my girlfriend and we get them free food? Like, you eat one meal per shift, and each shift is, like, 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I don't do fast food.
I mean, it makes sense. The thing is, like, the fast food is so cheap still. Like, there's still, like, you can get away with a full meal at, like, a fast food place for under $10 easy. Easy. And if you're really working at it, you can get it under $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's insane.
It's enough of that talk. That's going down memory lane. I don't like that because I've moved on to bigger, better things, working security.
I'm not about that life anymore.
You can call me Big Papa Security. I work at a refinery, and I'm just gonna say it right now. Everything's always secure when I'm there.
No one's ever broken in while I've been there. Just saying.
And I'm not just keep it under your hat, but I'm always I usually sleep on my shift.
Hey, listen, just don't tell no one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't. No, I'm a bad employee. I always tell people that, but sometimes I get real lucky and get good jobs. Like if I've been there for a while, they're like, "That guy's a good worker." I'm like, "I'm not," but I show up.
That's the thing is like I feel like for a lot of people, especially people that are like that work and like have to put together a team like a manager, what's more valuable is not what you do on your shift, it's how often you show up for your shift and how often you're willing to cover for people. Like if you're taking overtime left and right, if you're like constantly covering for people, if you're doing stuff like that, then I'm sure like, oh yeah, he's invaluable. We have to have him. He always sleeps and he barely does his job and he's embarrassing to keep around. But like, dang it, does he cover?
Yeah, he shows up.
Yeah, he'll show up. It's usually on time.
Yeah. No, you know what? I'm a mediocre worker at best, but I show up to work and I do my job and I do what they probably think I'm like a great worker. Like I've been told a lot, but like to me, I feel like I'm like skidding by just on the bare minimum. But apparently, doing the bare minimum where I work is just like outstanding.
Yeah, that's sometimes the thing is like you feel like your performance is really bad. But whenever you take a look, like for somebody that's like evaluating the performance of their team, they're like, well, listen, he's doing the bare minimum, but no one does bare minimum. He's doing amazing.
Right now, he's doing above average. Get that guy a raise.
The bare minimum here is outstanding. It's incredible. He should be the boss.
As a matter of fact, take my job. Oh my God. All right. Enough of blue collar life. I wanted to today to talk about video games.
Hell yeah.
And there's a bunch of good ones. Not only that just came out, but are gonna come out.
Talking about video games, baby.
Hell yeah.
First time.
No, we've talked about games before.
It was a joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, are you serious? Sometimes I don't know, Colby.
Now we're going to get in there. We're going to really talk about video games.
We're going to get real deep. No, I'm just saying, like Horizon Forbidden West just came out and everyone's saying that's good.
Yeah. So, Horizon Forbidden West has a similar issue to Horizon Zero Dawn, which is that it was released a week before another open world game that blew everything out of the water. So Horizon Zero Dawn was released the week of Breath of the Wild, and Horizon Far West was released the week of Elden Ring. So like,
God, like they couldn't put it off for a month.
Yeah, when they saw that it was coming out, they couldn't have been like, let's just polish it a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, let's just tweak it a little bit, kind of let Elden Ring settle down a little bit. But
yeah, like, no, they just went for it. In fact, like, I mean, Horizon is an interesting game. It's not one that I've ever played before, but like watching the trailers and stuff looks good. The only thing that have you seen Donkey's video on Horizon?
The recent one, right?
Yeah.
I saw it, but I got to see it again because I don't remember much about it.
His major point was that like whenever you talk to people in the game, basically like you give a quest or like they give you some information that you need for the story, and then you're presented with a bunch of dialogue options, and all of them are basically just like, yes, you should continue talking, but they don't need to talk. And they're not going to reveal any more information, and it's not going to affect gameplay at all. So it's like the only reason that you're doing it is because you enjoyed listening to people talk.
Yeah, he's like the NPCs are holding you hostage.
Yes.
And then he's just like, and then whenever you're like running around in the open world, you have to. When you have to acquire materials, you don't just press a button and grab them like in Elden Rings, for example. When you're in Elden Rings, you could just run and hit the button as you're running, and it'll automatically into your inventory. And for Horizon Forbidden West, whenever you're running and grabbing acquired materials, you stop and then go into the animation and then continue. And
which is
talking
like
about that too.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's half a second, but it's enough that you're like it breaks the flow.
Yeah.
So you're like
the moment to moment gameplay just goes into like, gotta do this again.
Yeah.
You want to do it, but then you don't.
These are all like kind of small nitpicky type things, but like
it's
a lot of them sort of add up, over time. So again, I'm sure Horizon is an awesome game. Like it looks really good. It looks like it's fun. The graphics in it are good. A lot of people really like it, but
I don't know. The main character Eloy looks like Nikocado Avocado.
Oh my god!
Have you seen that picture?
I have, yes. I've also seen pictures of like virgins on the internet being like, "Did you see that she has facial hair? Is she supposed to be a guy?" It's like, do you know that like girls have facial hair? It's just like really soft and you can't see it usually. Like the one that's on this main character, you fucking idiot.
I'm like, they're like tribal people, right? Like they live outside.
There's not like a shaving thing that happens here, you fucking dumbass.
I personally, I don't care because you don't see their face for most of the game. You're always like behind them. Mm-hmm. But when they did the Nikocado Avocado in her face, it made me laugh. Like I don't care how, like there's no romance in the game, and who cares if she looks good or not? Like the gameplay's there, it's solid.
Just burp and then keep going.
Yeah, that's how I do. I'd say excuse me. You didn't hear me. I whispered it off to the side.
Oh yeah, did you?
Yeah, I was like, excuse me.
Yeah, I fucking bet you did. Yeah. So like the thing is, I feel like it's fine. Like, I think her face is great. I think Aloy's got like a regular human woman face.
Well, no, it's regular, but like all human faces, some faces can be goofy.
Like all human faces, they all look like Nikocado Avocado.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think faces can look goofy, and if hers looks a little goofy, I mean, what's it matter? I don't know. I don't get the problem.
I'm looking at the picture that you mentioned, and
Send it to me.
Yeah, I can see it. That's kind of funny.
Send it to Chad. I want to see it. I want to laugh.
Hey, send me that picture.
I mean, just for laughs. I don't want nothing weird about it.
Shh, don't tell no one.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no. The hairstyle too is what fucking. The fucking face too. I'm gonna take it off my screen. Oh shit.
Listen,
Oh, man.
as far as Horizon goes, I'm sure Horizon's like probably a B to A tier open world game. Probably pretty good. People are so whenever you don't. How do I word this? So like, this is an open world game, and so is Elden Ring. If you are going to pick a game to play this week, you are probably going to pick one of those two. You are likely not going to play the other one, right?
Yeah.
As a result, you got a lot of polarizing opinions where people that are playing Elden Ring are like, oh, people really like this baby mode, Horizon Zero Dawn, huh? Really going out there and just not even dying, huh? You bunch of babies.
You're really playing a game that lets you have fun, don't you?
Yeah, wow. Wow, you got some cool enemies that don't kill you super easy? Cool, bet that feels real good.
I really connect with that right now because I'm playing through Elden Rings, and I like the game. Let me get that across. I'm not a fan of Souls games. I liked Bloodborne, but I didn't really get into it. Mm-hmm. I went into Elden Rings like, man, I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna like it, but I really like it. It's a fun game. Now with that out of the way.
Now let's get into the shit.
It pisses me off. It pisses me off because you just everything can be fine. Like you're going through the game, you're beating the normal enemies, like you're doing good, and you're like, man, I'm doing great. Then you get to just a boss, and the boss will just fist you for an hour. Will just kick your ass and make you feel like you've made no progress in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the worst. I was streaming earlier today, and I streamed for like 3 hours. For 2 of those 3 hours, I fought the same boss.
One guy.
The first big boss. And until I could summon people to come and help me, is the only reason I beat that boss. I was having such a shitty time. Not a shitty time, but like I was making no progress on him. I was like, man, I fucking hate this.
Well, but, Dark Souls and Souls-like games in general really want you to be either patient or very perceptive, right? So like,
yes.
You have to like monitor a boss's movements, know how to avoid damage from them, and then take hits of opportunity when you can. And you can choose to either be very fast about that and know like what you can get, like cheat the system and get as much as you can like out of it. So like, you avoid one attack and well, I can get one quick attack before I have to like dodge roll again or whatever. Or you just have to like know you have to understand the attack patterns enough to roll out of the way of damage, and then like as soon as your opportunity presents itself, get 2 hits and then wait again. So like as a result, if you're someone that is like not a rock star at being very good at like platforming or Souls type games, like with this kind of combat, you can often get into a boss battle, and to succeed in that boss battle can take you 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like one fight can take you 20 minutes, but to get up to that 20-minute fight, it's like 2 hours of like learning movements and when can I hit him and how often can I do it and what spells work, what spells don't work.
You have to die a bunch, learning the attack patterns, learning if they have a second phase, and then you have to like really understand the dodge mechanic and how many iframes it has, and which way you have to dodge, and like, is this weapon the best against him, or does he have a weak spot? Because most of the Souls-like games, they have a certain weak spots that you exploit. And you have to spend a lot of this time like really understanding the boss. So they really want you to die tens of hundreds of times before when you get it. Excuse me.
Jesus, V.
Excuse me. I'm drinking Mexican Coke.
Well, then stop.
It's already. I can. I'm doing it. Once you get it down, that boss will never be hard to you ever again because you understand everything about him. But
which is great because I'm sure you'll be able to fight that boss again and again. Yeah. And I'm sure this damage, I'm sure like the thing that you spent 3 hours learning will become relevant again very shortly.
Yeah.
It won't.
It just won't. Because then you go into the next area and then there's a whole new fresh hell just awaiting you.
Yeah. And then you do that 5 or 6 or 8 or 12 times and then you're done. You beat the game.
Yeah. And then you never play it again and you just revel in the fact that you beat the game once, even though you can do New Game Plus like 10 plus times. And each time it gets harder. And I don't want to think about that because I never want to play it again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which isn't to say that New Game Plus is a bad thing. It's just...
no, not at all. And listen, I know a bunch of people that play New Game Plus on, or just regular new games on Dark Souls or Souls-like games all the time. Like,
oh yeah,
they find it very fun to be like, oh, instead of being a warrior, I'm going to be artificer. I'm going to be whatever this other class is, and I'm going to only use dual hand daggers, or I'm only going to use the tower shield and a spear, or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not going to wear any armor and have a big club. And you
it's like,
use
cool,
the
I guess.
broken sword. James was showing me a guy in Dark Souls, because James is big into Souls games. He's surprisingly really good at those games. He was showing me a video of a guy who took out the final boss of Dark Souls with the starter bow and just like regular arrows, and it did 10 damage each shot. And he sat there for like 2 hours chipping away at like this final boss on Dark Souls, I think 3. It was like a guy riding on a dragon.
Oh. And
he chipped him all the way down, dodged perfectly all the time with the bow, and just killed him. I'm like, fuck that guy. I'm for real, fuck that guy. I'm like...
Man, I mean, the thing is, things like that is where you start up to get, like, that's like a challenge run, right? Like, that's not... IMO, that's not like a fun or like intended way to play a game. Because like I told you about the Final Fantasy VII speedrunner that I watched, and like he did like the level 99 in Reactor 1 challenge, and that's like it's just fighting the same thing over and over again, and then like you do that for a month. It's like,
I'm not like doing bad on things. Like if people like the game enough, they come up with these challenges to do, and they know it's like entertaining for certain people to watch because
Jesus, V.
I'm done. I finished my soda. They know people will watch it. It's entertaining, and they just want to show people, hey, you know, people are like, oh, I don't want to play this game because like it's impossible or blah blah blah, and the guy's like, no, it can be done. Like look at this, you know. It's just kind of like that. They're just adding extra things onto the game. They're like, yes, you can very much do this in the game. And, you know, you can have your own fun once you learn everything. Like, once you play through the game and you kind of learn where everything is, because nothing's, like, procedurally generated. Like, you could just flow through the game, like, easy. Like...
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably fun, right? Because you've invested a bunch of time into this like very difficult game. Now you understand it. Now you want to like take that knowledge back and do it again, but do it faster, or do it like make it harder on yourself, or like be a builds. Gamer.
Yeah, just be better. Be better try different weapons. Be like, well, last time I played it, I used this weapon. Let me use like the worst weapon in the game and see if I can go through it.
Yeah, like, okay, so there's a game called Jump King. And Jump King got very popular. I don't know. I guess like it came out probably last year, but it's been sort of making its rounds through different streamers. And the whole premise is just like you can move like left and right, and then you have a jump button. And depending on how long you hold down the jump button is how far you jump. That's it. That's the whole mechanic, right? But they make it to where if you miss a jump, you can fall down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 areas, right? Like, so you can spend 3 hours getting up to like 3/4 of the way to the top, and then you can fall all the way back down to like the beginning, right?
Yeah, those kind of games piss me off.
Yeah, and they're supposed to. Like, it's supposed to be hard, and it's supposed to teach you how to like play the game. Once you finish it the first time, it's like, okay, I am done. I don't want to do this anymore. But there are some people that are like, well, I have invested all of this time in figuring out how to do the jumps. Let me see how fast I can do it now. And then they start to try to speedrun it. And that's whenever you see someone that like, oh, it took me, a day and a half of streaming, which was like 9 hours to finish Jump King the first time. And now I finished it in 12 and a half minutes or whatever. Right. Like, and that's fun for some people. I can't do that.
No. Like me and you both are very casual players, but for some people, they just get really invested into beating the game, and they're just like, wow, that was really difficult. I want to do it again and like test myself. Like there's definitely gamers out there who are just like, I need to test myself. I need to play on the hardest difficulty, and I need to beat this at a certain time, and I need to do this a certain way, just for funsies. But that's not how I play games. So like I can't even I can't even like imagine like their thought pattern.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like I for a long time I was like, oh, I could do speed running. I kind of want to play like Final Fantasy VI and speed run that. But the longer that I keep watching speedrunners, the more that I'm like, no, I really couldn't. Like, especially, so it kind of depends on the run too, because like there are runs that only take 20 minutes. Like even again, Jump King is like, if everything goes well, you're done with the whole run in like 6 minutes, right? Like. So it's like, it's probably not too bad. You just lose runs a lot. But there are things like Clint Stevens is a speedrunner who does Mario 64 now. He used to do Ocarina of Time 100%. And that's a speed run that takes 4 hours, 4.5 hours or so. And there's a part in the run right in the middle in which you have like one of the required items. I'll tell you like exactly where it is, but I'll also explain for the audience that like maybe doesn't know. So in Dampe's graveyard, you could pay him to dig up some items, right? One of those items is a piece of heart, and it's a required item for 100%. The chance that he digs up that heart piece is 1 in 10. And so what happens is you get 2 hours into this run, and then you go to Dampe and you pay him. You say, dig up this thing. If he doesn't dig it up the first time, there's some things that you can still do so that you don't lose much time. So if it's first try or second try, you're fine, and then you can continue your run. Once it starts to get to like third try, every try takes like 10, 12 seconds, something like that, because it's like talk to him, pay him, wait for him to dig it up, collect the item, right? So like every one of these is just like time that you're leeching. Once you get up to like 4, 5, 6 try Dampe, you just have to restart it, right? Like you've already lost a minute. So it's like, why am I still playing?
Usually what speedrunners do, they have sections of a game on the side of like, say the stream, because they always stream. They have sections with like a targeted time or the fastest time. So they're either trying to match or beat that time. And usually if they're going through parts and they like go over like a second or two, they're usually like, it's okay, I'll make up for it in this next section. But like if you're just like hitting like the time over like a few sections, you're just like, nah, I gotta restart. This run's just dead. This dead run.
Yeah, which is like, that's the grind, right? It's like you're trying to like get your time better, and that's a lot. That's a lot of fun for some people. But for me, can you imagine how soul crushing it must be to be on a good run? You've spent 2 hours of your life on this run, and you're like ahead by a minute. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a fat personal best on this one, so long as nothing else goes wrong. And then you get to Dampe, and it's like a 14th try Dampe, and you're like, Jesus Christ, there goes all of my time, and then also another 2 minutes.
Oh no, yeah, like you really hate to see that. That's why like I just don't have patience for that. I can't. I'm not a patient person. Colby, you've seen my streams. I'm not patient.
I know.
I will skip story. And just trog through a game because I just can't.
Skip story and then 2 minutes later be like, all right, now what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
That is just how I play games. If the story, if it's more than like a few seconds, if it can't be like, I get beginning cutscenes, but if it's just like, if they keep trogging through, I'm like, God, let's just get it on. I already know. I'm like, I gotta start.
Yeah, I mean, there's it takes a lot of patience and a lot of like discipline to speed run and get really good at it.
Yeah, like there's only one game that I don't mind taking long on, and that's Phoenix Wright, because it's a visual novel. It's an interactive novel. I will sit there and read everything, and I'll pay attention because you have to pay attention in that game. But other games, I don't have the patience.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how do you, like
exactly.
I don't know what it is that makes me more patient about like trying a game, like, because if it's a game that has stealth mechanics in it, I will retry an area until I like die in real life to do it and not get noticed. I don't know why. But that's just how my brain works. So like Deathloop, Dishonored, Metal Gear Solid, games like that, if I get noticed, that's it. I just quit and try again. Like, as a result, I play things for a very long time. And like my wife gets very annoyed.
I'm kind of there with you. I do like stealth mechanics in games. But, like, they have to make the stealth mechanic fun. Like, I had fun sneaking in Cyberpunk, although, like, I would get noticed sometimes and I would just go into a fight and that'd be fine. There's certain games that I love sneaking around in, and I don't care if the last person notices me, that's fine. I know Far Cry, I made it a point in Far Cry, I think it was 4. Far Cry 4 or 3. Because you get bonuses for taking, or no, I think 5. You get bonuses for sneaking in and taking an enemy encampment and making it yours. You would get like a lot of bonuses, give you a lot of XP and money if you never got spotted, if the alarms never went up. So I made it a point to sneak and take every encampment, even though like midway through, let's say they would notice me, I would just let them kill me so I could start over again. And I think Far Cry is like one of the only games that I do that for. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about Far Cry that I want to sneak and be sneaky in that game.
Man, yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about like some games, because Cyberpunk you brought up and I was like, yes, that's the most recent one. Also, just like there's something where like it's not that it necessarily, because like Far Cry sounds like it actually incentivizes you. For Cyberpunk, the only incentive, and Deathloop actually, the only incentive that you get is that enemies will leave you alone more. Yeah. And that's like, I don't know, kind of nice to me. So like, yeah, I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, I can do that. but rolling around in front of a boss for 20 minutes in Dark Souls, I'm like, wow, there's nothing that sounds better than like smashing my dick with a hammer. That sounds better than like rolling around in front of this boss.
Tell me about it. Like, it's so bad when you think, yeah, I dodged at the right time only to get fucking mashed in the face. I like, it makes me want to like, I understand like why people break things, because like I could break someone's bones, I could kill someone, of how annoying that gets. But what's it called? Games like Far Cry, where you do the sneaking, that's fine. But I tell you a game that I just couldn't. I didn't beat it because I just didn't want to. Because it kept pissing me off. Because I knew I'd get the bad ending. Dishonored, where you have where you have to be sneaky and not kill people. And I hate that they put the good ending behind the hard, like the more difficult thing to do, which is fine. It's just they give you so much fun things to do, and you can't kill people. They give you fun magic and like good fluid gameplay and like sword and gunplay, but you can't kill people.
Yeah, that's the one bad thing about like a game like that, because they really do incentivize you to just not use any of the items that you picked up. They're like, knock them out, or like, don't let him see you. And I did the same thing in Dishonored, by the way. I got the good ending strictly by luck, because I just happened to be doing a sneak playthrough, right? And so I was like, oh, great. Neat.
Yeah, when I learned about that, I stopped the game, because like I'd already killed a lot of the first people that you're not supposed to, and I hadn't been sneaking at all. I'd just been running in and stabbing people. And I was just like, this game's stupid. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna finish this game knowing I'm getting a bad ending. And now I don't play Dishonored anymore. I didn't play part 1, didn't play part 2.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, for all the hard, difficult games, you get games like Kirby, which is coming out this month, where you could just sit back and have a fun time.
Yeah, Kirby is always a fun game. It's just
it looks so good.
It does look really good. This new Kirby game looks like Kirby, kind of Breath of the Wild, kind of like I love whenever a game comes out and it's so like genre defining that instead of saying open world, I just say Breath of the Wild.
It's not even open world. It's just a 3D environment. It's basically like Kirby Odyssey.
Yeah. Odyssey's much closer to what I mean, yeah.
And the environments look so good, and the new power-ups look so fucking fun, and then you got the Waddle Dee Village where you can go fishing, and you can upgrade your skills and stuff, and then you gotta save all the Waddle Dees, and you got couch co-op. It just looks like a good time. Like, I'm gonna be slogging through Elden Rings this whole month, and then I'm gonna get Kirby, and I'm gonna be playing it on my Switch, just having a good time. Just being like, man, I'm gonna be like, man, forget dying for hours. I'm like, this is some good shit. Just smiling at the Switch, just playing it.
Like, I'm a little pink boy. Listen, the only thing that I will say about like the new Kirby that's bad is the fact that he like there's some things that he can't eat, and he looks terrible when he does that.
Yeah, the full mouth mechanic where his whole body becomes the shape of what he's in his mouth, like the car. The
car is body horror. It's just straight body horror.
Like, speaking of body horror for Kirby, like I've seen like this, I guess kind of gore comic where like he sucks up an enemy, and the enemy, instead of like dying, is inside Kirby's stomach, which is just an infinite cosmos space. Like, oh my God. What's in Kirby's stomach? Like, because he can eat anything.
It's true. Well, here's the thing. This game proves that he can't. He can't eat a car.
No, he can't eat a car or a fridge or a giant light bulb or a big cone or...
Yeah, I guess there are some things that are too big for his mouth, which kind of break Kirby canon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought Kirby could eat a whole goddamn castle if he wanted to.
He's eaten bigger enemies, trust me. Like, I guess just he noticed, this is a car, I don't want to eat this. So I guess he's just like, well, now it's stuck in my mouth. I've turned off my suck mechanic. I've turned off suck mode, and now it's
I
in
guess
my
I'll
mouth.
drive the car that's in my mouth with my tongue?
My inside hands?
My intestines. The hands I fashioned out of my intestines.
So, you got car, fridge, cone, glider, trampoline, I think, giant light bulb, and probably some other things.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It's just, but why?
Well, I mean, I guess they could have kept with new powers and upgrade mechanics, but I guess they wanted to, I don't know, make it fun, quote unquote, like a fun little new mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they didn't realize how like terrifying it'd look.
Yeah, this is what I'm worried about with the One Piece live action, right? Like, this is exactly what I'm thinking about.
Fucking Luffy. Luffy is gonna be a nightmare to look at, and not the actor, but when he stretches his body, or when he does like Luffy's like grab his cheeks and like stretch them out. When he does that noise, it's gonna be just terrifying.
You and I are gonna have to like do a simultaneous watch together and keep like a bucket nearby so that like whenever something like that happens, we can just throw up.
Yeah, we need to get. I hope by then we have a big audience. Maybe we'll do a watch party with them.
That would be neat.
That would be neat, and just watch an episode or two of the One Piece, and just be like, oh no. I want to know what they're gonna do for the big characters like fucking Alvida or Big. I don't know if they're gonna get into Big Mom territory, but for Big Mom and Kaido, because they're like 30 feet tall.
Yeah, so like for them, I think it makes sense to like have like a big like 3D model or something like that. I'm interested in people that are big but are not huge. So in particular, I'm thinking about Garp and Bartholomew Kuma, right? Like those are people that are humans that are just like very tall and very wide and are shaped like upside down triangles. Kuma's huge.
Wait, who am I thinking of?
Kuma's the guy with the he's the one who took all the like the tiredness and stuff away from like Luffy and then gave it to Zoro, and Zoro was like standing there like a badass and was like nothing happened.
Yeah, Bartholomew Kuma. Yeah, he is an oddly shaped guy. I don't know why I was.
He is.
The guy who uses the barriers, who's like a fanboy of Luffy.
Who am I thinking? Who?
He has like a mohawk, and he was in the Dressrosa arc. He was like Luffy's fanboy. He was like, Luffy!
Oh, Bartolomeo.
Yeah.
Which is very similar to Bartholomew Kuma, so I get it.
Bartholomew. Oh, yeah, Bartolomeo. That's why I got confused. But yeah, no, Bartholomew Kuma is a big. He has like a big upper body, like kind of square head and little legs. Like, what are they gonna do for that?
He does.
What are they gonna do for Brook? It's just full CGI.
Brook, he's a skeleton.
Oh, just full CGI. Chopper's gonna look like a nightmare.
He's gonna be a little fuzzy boy. Here's the thing. It depends on how they do it, because like, if you remember, the first like kind of renders for Pokemon in Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
3D Pokemon were not very good up to that point. No. And then for Detective Pikachu, they found a way to make them realistic and cute, which is a very difficult balance to strike. So I have faith that they can do it.
They can do it, but I wouldn't say all the Pokemon in Detective Pikachu look cute. The 8-bombs look like a nightmare.
Yes, but I think they were supposed to, so that makes sense.
That's fair. I think the Charizard kind of looked kind of gross, where you could see its scales, which I'm just like, I'm used to seeing smooth lizard, like not a scaly one.
Yeah, I mean, but whenever you bring something into the real world, you got to give him like as much detail as a human does. Otherwise, like something just looks strange, and it looks like fucking. It looks like it's unintentionally Who Framed
Yeah,
Roger Rabbit. You know what I mean?
it's just Uncanny Valley. Speaking of Roger Rabbit, did you know there's a new Chip and Dale trailer for a movie that's coming out Disney Plus?
I did. Yes.
Did you see it?
I did.
Roger Rabbit's in it.
He is.
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit is like a kind of like a cultural icon, so that's not super surprising, but
Well,
always welcome.
That movie is kind of a Who Framed Roger Rabbit movie for the new Chip and Dale.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are, of course, it's Chip and Dale, and they're cartoons, and they're aware that they're cartoons, and they did the show, and they're in Hollywood, and I don't remember what they're trying to figure out, but you got Chip in like normal 2D animation, and Dale, who's had cosmetic surgery to look like 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got those two like clashing art styles in the movie. And it looks good. I want to watch it. I definitely want to watch
same.
it. But I want to know, like, I guess I'll just wait till it comes out because I want to know more. Another movie I want to watch is Turning Red.
Yes! New Pixar movie!
Yeah, dude. It looks so good and animated.
Yeah, it does. Like, there's a lot of personality. It looks almost like a cross between, like, kind of like the Steven Universe, like, bean head kind of look of stuff with like, traditional Pixar. And it looks really, really good.
It does. The main character does have, like, a Steven Universe face.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't bad. But then again, the internet being the internet, there's a lot of people pissed off about that movie.
Why?
Because they're like, oh, this movie has like that Cal art style, the Beanhead you mentioned, and they're like, it's lazy.
That's the derogatory name for it, is like Cal Arts style, which like because California Institute of Arts, I guess, is like what it is, or California Art College or whatever. So like it's an art style that like a lot of artists that have been through that college have sort of developed or used, because that sort of art style got popular around Steven Universe. There's a lot of shows that sort of take from like what the Adventure Time. There's a lot of shows that sort of borrow from that kind of art style and that way of rendering a character.
Yeah, that's simple.
It's like, it's simple. It's kind of it's distinct. It's charming. But like, I don't know, man. I don't look at like a cartoon that was made in like the early 90s and go, ugh, 90s cartoon, stupid.
Everyone's all chunky and bleh.
Everybody looks like a human. It's stupid.
No. And then another thing that people were like weirdly, there was two things that was just like, oh, it's like the movie's like gonna go into periods, and they're just like, oh, people don't need to know about that. I'm like, yeah, but people have periods.
Yeah, people have periods. Shut the fuck up. God.
And then there was an article written that said that the movie is unapologetically horny, which made people like, wait, what? They were like, why is this kid's movie unapologetically horny? And like, there's all these people now.
I would imagine it's probably because it's covering puberty.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's like innuendo and jokes in there because of puberty, and the girl is probably, the main character is also probably hitting puberty, having her period, and now she's like in lust for a guy. So I'm sure that's what they meant. But you probably shouldn't say unapologetically horny for a kids movie.
Yeah, that's maybe not a great way to word it, but still, like, I get what that means, and I'm not
Yeah.
Or at least I think I get what that means, and I'm not mad about it.
Well, like I just explained, I'm sure that's what they meant.
Yeah.
But that, it's just weird. The internet's gonna always be the internet. And I think that's a good ending point for the show right now.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good to me. We're
an hour.
We're sort of in an interesting spot in which, like, Batman just came out. We haven't seen it, and we're still sort of in like a media dry spell at the moment.
Yeah, I will probably watch Batman. You are probably not going to.
No, I can't. There is no world in which I can go see Batman safely, because I would have to there would have to be like a sitter situation for the baby, and that's just not going to happen. So,
yeah. Whereas I live down the street from a movie theater. I can go watch it.
Yeah, and you don't have a baby.
I don't have a baby, and I don't live in a dense area like you do, so it's not going to be crowded.
It's true, and I don't have any friends, so I can't go with anyone.
I mean, your wife's your friend.
That's true. My wife is my wife is great. If I could, I would. Unless they're
I'll tell.
I'm not one of those, like. I always find it weird whenever that's like a weird cultural thing. Whenever people are like, "Oh yeah, well the old ball and chain." It's like, why are you married?
God,
shut the fuck up. If you don't like your wife, shut up.
1950s comedian. Fucking. Oh, I hate my wife so much. She's always nagging on me. She's always just fucking on my back, and I hate her.
God, I wish I could pay a professional contractor to come and kill her. Like, shut up.
Won't she just have a heart attack and die? I tell you what.
Just stop. Stop it.
If only she could stop living, then my life would be great. And then my kids too. They need to die. I just want to not live with my family anymore.
Yeah, what I really want is to just hang out and be alone. That's my life. That's what I
just
want.
wish to come home, crack open a beer, and just live alone and never feed myself or wash myself ever again. I would love nothing better if everyone stopped calling me and just left me alone. What sad existence.
I know. just shut the fuck up.
God. Oh, so I guess that's where we're going to end it this week. We'll see what's going on next week. I'm sure there'll be some fun stuff.
Yeah, and if there's not, we've got plenty of stuff that we can still talk about.
I mean, we do that all the time.
Don't worry about it. We'll still be here.
Yeah, we're going to be here, and you better be here.
Like, you be here too. If I got to be here, you got to be here. You can't just be standing around. I'm paying you $7 an hour.
Don't you?
Go clean under the water heater.
What do you think? I like being here? No, I'm doing this for you. I don't even like you, but I'm doing it for you.
Yeah, so hurry up. Just get your name badge, put on your work hat, go clean under the hot water heater, and go get him.
Go get him. Sub to us on Spotify.
Oh yeah, or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever.
5 stars.
Five
stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars. YouTube, like. YouTube,
hit it. Facebook, we're there.
Hit him with the whoa. Ha-ha! Bye.